Hey everyone, I'm going to be doing a quick vlog today on my Thursday night live stream sequence that I started the week before last. We did take a week off last week. The week prior to last, we started on the Yamas. The Yamas are our moral observations in yoga. They are the first limb of Patanjali's eight-limbed path. They are the cleansing techniques for our minds, bodies, and spirits that allow us to live more conscious and more liberated lives. Every action, you can scale it back down and peel it back down to the yamas and ask yourself if it's in alignment. Is this in alignment with my moral observations as a yogi? When we are behaving in a way that is in alignment with our values, it frees us up to be available, to help others, to be that healing presence or that guide or that, co-teacher or whatever we seek to do, as yoga teachers or just as yogis or just in life in general. So I love that Julia from my vinyasa practice says that the yamas are the loving filters through which we view the world. They do provide a basis for why we do what we do, our purpose, right? And I do believe strongly that thoughts, actions, feelings, all of these things are energy. We have the ability to put positive energy out into the world, into those we touch, and even those we don't touch, just through universal, ripples and collective conscious. And we have the ability to put negativity out there as well. I've definitely had experiences and been in both places in my life. I'm sure that anybody watching this can relate to that. So the Yama, again, the ethical disciplines and moral obligations. The week before last week, we did the first Yama, Ahimsa, which is nonviolence. We translate that into loving compassion. And this week, Thursday night, we'll be focusing our practice on Satya, or truthfulness. This is a heavy one for a lot of people. It can sound obvious, right? We tell our kids all the time, tell the truth, don't lie, right? It's bad to lie. But in reality, I think it's a lot more difficult to practice than we sometimes realize. Truth is always as expansive as our awareness is in any given moment, right? It's our truth is a reflection of where we are. How authentically I can show up in any community or setting is based on how self-aware I am, how I've been able to get in touch with that, in touch with myself, in touch with my stories, in touch with the chitta vritti, the mental fluctuations, how we're able to make sense of our experience. And then understanding those things is how we show up and we present in community. So Satya is really about being true to ourselves, right? It always starts with self. If I cannot be honest with myself, then who can I be honest with, right? If I cannot be loving and compassionate towards myself, who can I be loving and compassionate with, right? So applying these practices at home first. And I think recognizing with truthfulness, everybody has their own relative truth, right? So I think that's really important to understand when speaking about truthfulness. I may experience something and feel something very strongly and be very, have a reaction or a perspective that I feel very strongly about based on my experience. And I could share that with somebody, and that's my truth, and they could be in a completely different place with that, right? And that's okay too, because that's their truth, right? So it is a reflection of you and where you are. And that's why I love that truth is only as expansive as our awareness is in any given moment. I heard that on one of my Zooms, on a live yoga Zoom, and I wish I remember who said it. It was a comment, and it just struck me. It just really made sense and resonated, So I think that's a really important concept to understand when applying the truth. My teacher, Michelle Young, would always say the only truth that we hold as yogis is that we are all divine beings having a human experience, right? So we don't want to get caught up in debating the truth with somebody, because ultimately it's a reflection of our awareness. So just a few points on truthfulness. Again, remembering that all of the yamas defer back to the first yama, ahimsa, non-violence. I think I mentioned this in my last vlog, but we can be truthful. We can be truthful and not not show loving compassion, and that's not practicing the 8 limbs, right? So we need to ask ourselves, when we go to speak or act or do, is it true? Is it necessary? And is it kind? Those are Rumi's 3 gates of conversation. So all interaction should pass through these 3 gates prior to coming out into the universe to meet somebody else's energy. So I like utilizing that tool. And then I also like, sorry, I'm distracted because my daughter is refusing to take a nap. So I mentioned just kind of learning awareness and checking in with self first in order to be able to show up authentically and truthfully. That's a big part of our practice, is the self-awareness. So I mentioned Rumi's 3 gates. And then I also want to mention mindful speech from the Buddhist schools of thought. They ask that you tell the truth, don't exaggerate, don't gossip, and use helpful language. That's how we can communicate our truth mindfully. Don't exaggerate, don't gossip, and use helpful language. One last thing before I go and deal with my shouting baby. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Don Miguel Ruiz's 4 agreements. I do like to apply these as well in regards to Satya, because I think they're very, I think they're important. Just in general, I think they're important, but I think in terms of talking about communication, we place a large value on communication as human beings. And I think it really does make a difference to stop and think when we're speaking, and think about the energy and the seeds we're planting. So number 1, his first agreement is to be impeccable with your word. So saying only what you mean, right? Not more, not less, not exaggerating. That goes back to the Buddhist school of thought. A lot of these are kind of overlapping. The second thing is not to take things personally. So I know this can be very difficult, but we do learn in our teacher training that what other people do is a projection of their experience, and it's not about us. So we really need to be able to be non-reactive, right? And then third, don't make assumptions. So I put a note here that says, find the courage to express what you truly want and what you truly mean. And it does take courage to be able to be that vulnerable. But when we make assumptions, we can get in a very difficult mess. And then the final thing is always do your best, and remembering that your best will absolutely vary from day to day. My best absolutely does. I think this is the best that I can do for today, and I think I'm happy with it. So I'm going to stop there. But please DM me or message me with any questions you might have regarding the Thursday night live stream class, regarding the Yamas or Niyamas, or regarding Satya. And I am working on designing that practice for us Thursday to really focus on getting in touch with our true authentic selves, that we might be able to more honestly and courageously live our truth and show up as ourselves in all of our interactions. Thank you so much for taking the time with me to listen to this vlog, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Namaste. Bye.